Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm your host, Leanne.
And this week, I am extremely happy because we're going back to some Andor stuff, and I'm ready.
I really didn't realize how much I missed this show until I was trying to find what my favorite quotes are, which, please, we'd have to do a 5-part series to cover all of them, for real.
Honestly, I feel like just the whole script, it's such a good script. This was hard to narrow it down to 3. I just went with the top 3 that came to mind, but these are not by any means an exhaustive list.
Well, I think we can all agree, before we get into these, that Luthen's monologue, his speech, you know the one.
Oh, yes.
That one is my favorite.
Yeah.
And we're actually just going to skip that one. Just because it's the top tier of topness, of top greatness, of all Andor greatness, everything, all at once in one monologue, and it's Luthen's. So we're gonna shelve that one because that's the obvious implied best quote.
These quotes would not be the same if different actors performed them.
You know, it's so funny you say that because as I was researching, like, which one am I actually going to choose? It really hit me. The performance is what drives this writing.
Yeah.
And any other person, it wouldn't have had as much impact. I really, truly believe that.
Yeah. I actually just listened to an interview with Tony Gilroy recently because they were asking him about writing, and I just, I eat that up for breakfast. And
you eat for breakfast?
Pretty much.
Please tell me everyone knows that reference, that movie reference. If not, I'm sorry, it sounds awful. Adam Sandler.
I don't think I know that reference.
It's Happy Gilmore?
Oh my God, I haven't seen that for such a long time.
You know what's funny is I almost said Happy Gilroy. Same thing.
We're just making up movies now.
Yep. Yeah, we are. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Well, He was saying that they had the first probably block done, which is like 3 episodes, the first 3 episodes done. And they were casting, they had their cast put together. And then he was seeing like what they were doing with his script. And he was like, it made it easy then going forward to write for these actors because they're so skilled.
I totally believe it because, wow, there's so many well-delivered lines. And, But there's also, these are not just one-liners. I had to pick a line out of a giant scene or like a monologue, and pick the heart of that.
Yeah.
And why it meant something to me. And yeah, this is just really hard. I actually have 5 quotes. I do.
Well, I wrote the whole scenes out. So.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I will try and pick the 3 out of the 5 that I have here. And if we have time, maybe we'll do honorable mentions. I don't know. It's just, this whole show is just so fantastic. So
how did you organize yours? Are you going by like what episode came first or like your favorite one? How did you categorize yours?
I mean, I went with the ones that I still remember, and I remember them for a very touching, moving reason.
Yeah.
I guess so. And then, but like I misremember things, right? So I had to go and re-watch the scene or at least look up what the full quote was so I don't misquote it. And then I ended up watching these scenes over and I'm just like, this is so f***ing good.
It is.
And so I really just went with what I remembered. Because if you remember it, it stuck out to you, right?
Right, exactly. Well, I think we should probably do some Andor rewatch
Probably.
episodes.
I think we should. I think it's necessary. It's needed after this. And it's really a show that I could watch over and over and over.
Same. And I think you would get something different out of it every time. But okay. So do you want to go first? Do you want to give your first quote?
God, well... yes, I'll go. I think... I guess of the ones I wrote down, besides Luthen's speech, the one I have here is between Cassian and Marva. And it's probably one of my tops. And it's, Cassian says, "I'll be worried about you all the time." And Marva says, "That's just love. Nothing you can do about it." And
I literally have goosebumps.
yeah, the way she has the tears in her eyes, her shaking, the quivering of her voice.
Yeah.
The fact that she's like subconsciously loving him for what he's saying and telling him it's okay. You know, it's just, that's a mother. That's a mother's love. And a son's worried, like he's worried about her and he wants to take care of her and he doesn't want to leave her. And the whole exchange is just beautiful. Honestly, that's just love. Nothing you can do about it. She says it so matter-of-factly. It's so practical. Like, that's just love. Nothing you can do about it. But there's so much more in it. And this is where I want to highlight the fact that the delivery and the acting on this part is unmatched.
Yes, she's able to convey so much pain and that bittersweetness of being a parent, of like loving somebody so much that you're willing to let them go because that's what's best for that person.
It's so hard. And
it's gutting, yeah.
I want to know how many takes they took on that one. Because if it was multiple, kudos. Because it would be one of those scenes that would drain me if I had to do it more than once. But if they did it one time, kudos to the nth degree. Because that's some skill. These people are top-notch actors and actresses.
They're all honestly to a T too good for Star Wars.
We have stuff like Walking Carpet, you know, and then we have this stuff from Andor. I mean, we love both for what they are.
Yes, they're different entities completely. Yeah. And I like that, though. I like that. I like that.
I do too.
This actually is growing Star Wars. So that's why I always wanted to write fan fiction, is because I wanted to like elevate Star Wars. Not that Star Wars is not elevated, because it's all, as obviously we've done how many shows now all about this. But I wanted to see like what it would be like if you took Star Wars and turned it into like classic literature, and this is basically what it would be. This is like Dostoevsky, or, you know.
Yes.
Basically, Andor is if you turn Star Wars into something classical. So
yes. Well, that's my first one out of this list.
Oh, it's so good. That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, honestly.
Yeah, it really stuck out to me, and it had to be on this list. It's just so good. I mean, Marva has a lot of good things to say. She's on my list 3 times, but
honestly, we could do a whole episode just about Marva and her amazing acting, her amazing dialogue, everything about hers. I love Fiona Shaw with like my whole heart.
She really, she should know how much she's loved. I hope she does. So what's yours? My God.
Well, my first one is also a Cassian quote. It's from the episode The Axe Forgets. Mm-hmm. And I've talked about all my quotes already in other episodes, but I wanted to talk about them again because I want to like deep dive into it a little bit more. Yeah. So this is the one where they're on their way to Aldhani, and Skeen puts a knife to Cassian's throat and like starts this little fight.
Yes, this is so good.
It's such a great scene. And Terriman says, "You think we're scared?" And Cassian says, "I know you are." And he says, "Of course I'm afraid," because they accuse him of being scared. And he says, "Of course I'm afraid, but there's a difference between fear and losing your nerve. You want out of this? Make a choice. Don't use me as an excuse."
I love that. It's brilliant.
It's so brilliant. And we discussed this before, that one of the reasons I love this scene is it doesn't go the way most people would write this scene, right? It would usually turn into a match, but what it really is showing, and this is why I love Cassian's character so much, it shows that, yes, he knows how to control his fear, and he has since he was a child. You know, he lost his parents, his sister, his adoptive parents, like his adopted father was murdered in front of him. He was sent to prison. all of this taught him to control his fear, but this also shows that he is really intelligent, intuitive, and perceptive. Like, he has a full understanding of everyone in this group, but never says it out loud unless he has to.
Yeah, and they totally underestimate him. They think he doesn't.
Yeah. They don't know a thing about him because he's really closed off and good at protecting himself, but he's reading everybody in the room and can not just manipulate that, but like use that to protect himself. And that's basically like what he's doing in this scene. And I just, oh God, I love it so much.
I really think that that line is very inspiring because if I could, if I could, I'm doing it right now. I can remember numerous times where I am scared to do something. Make a big life decision, right? Get on an airplane for 10 hours at a time. I'm scared. I'm openly scared about doing that, or I was. But you have to remember there's a difference between feeling the fear and doing it anyways, which is don't lose your nerve.
Yes.
And going into a thing like Aldhani, they would be fools to say, oh, I'm not scared. Fear keeps you protected in a way.
Yeah.
But not losing your nerve is pushing past that and getting a job done and doing what needs to be done, like Cassian has always done, right up until what happens in Rogue One.
Exactly.
That is scary shit. And the best part is, if you think about Jyn, she's right there with them. Mm-hmm. She knows the difference between being scared and not losing your nerve.
It's really refreshing, actually, to see a hero who's afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear.
No.
Courage is doing a thing in spite of fear. And it's really interesting, too, because he kind of doesn't display fear. As filmmakers, they keep him very kind of neutral in a way. Mm-hmm. He's just there observing, kind of making his way. He needs them to trust him, but not because he believes in their cause, but because he wants to survive and walk away, right?
Yes,
That's what he's trying to do. So I just find this so interesting because and this is actually something I'm going to say about another quote I have. Still waters run deep with this character. Mm-hmm. What you see on Cassian's surface is not the whole story. Mm-mm. And I love that. It's so satisfying to watch it unfold.
It's really a testament to how good of a rebel spy he ends up being. I mean, everything that he's gone through leading up to when he becomes a rebel is really what sets the stage for him becoming so successful. And he hasn't lost his humanity because we see in Rogue One he doesn't shoot Jin's father like he's supposed to.
Yeah.
He's very cerebral. He thinks things through. He observes. He reads the room. This quote, I mean, and the best part is the writing. You could say exactly what he said and make it a whole paragraph, but he did it in one line.
Right. And this would normally like turn into a fist punching, like we said, like a match between these two men. But what he's really doing is pointing out, like, it's normal, first of all, that you're all afraid, but don't use me as an excuse that you're scared. Leave me out of your. And I just... Well,
it's so much easier to put it on someone else, right, than to carry the weight of it yourself. And that's very human. But he recognizes that. And he's like one step ahead of these people at all times in this. I just love the whole Aldhani. Everything about Aldhani is great.
Yeah, I mean, like, right up to when he shoots Skeen, it's like... He's still, even though Skeen is like revealing his ploy and that he's a liar all at once, Cassian makes a decision in a split second because, and I've heard Diego Luna talk about this, if someone asked him why his character killed him so quickly, and he said it was the first time he realized how dangerous it was to have people around you that could betray you and that you couldn't trust.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, well...
I mean, somebody like that Skeen is never going to change.
No, clearly not.
You're not going to change his mind. You're not going to talk him out of it. He'll just betray you down the line by playing you a fool again. So, gotta go.
Okay, well, what's another one of yours?
I chose this one because it's part of I remember the first time I heard this in the scene, and I cheered. So this is why this quote is on this list, and it's part of a much bigger entity of things which we know. The quote is, "Never more than 12," by Kino Loy.
Oh, man.
And the reason I chose this is, number one, it was at this moment Because they're asking him, how many guards, how many patrolmen, whatever. And he's been denying, and I'm not getting involved. Just put your head down and do your work. We're all just trying to get out of here, right? Push away. And at that point, he's in.
Yep.
And he answers Cassian, never more than 12. And I love this moment because Andy Serkis, okay, I love this man. But
I do too.
His character wanted nothing to do with any of this, right? He just wanted out. It's kind of parallel to Cassian. He didn't want anything to do with this rebellion. And once he saw and was in, he knew he had to be devoted. And Kino's the exact same way. It got to a point where he could no longer be a bystander. And when he said never more than 12, that was the moment he committed to doing what ended up happening. And it was everything beyond that is just beautiful. As a supplement, his speech when he repeats what Cassian says, I'd rather die trying to take them down than die giving them what they want.
Yes.
Is like the full circle of him saying never more than 12 because he commits to that before he even realizes like that's what's going on. So I cheered when he has his hands behind his back in the hallway and he says never more than 12. And I remember, I said, yes, he's in. He's in. He's in. Like, here we go, you know.
You know he's like crossed a point of no return.
That's it. And I love when characters do that. They make that choice and they move forward. And it's the heroic thing to do. It's going to be risky. It's going to cost, you know, it's never free. The choices are never free. Oh, it's so good. We wouldn't have one way out without the words never more than 12. So
that's very true. It's very true. I think that episode where he says that and then they come to the next episode, that's where he and Cassian are kind of like working together to kind of make a plan. I love all that dialogue between them.
Yes. It's so good.
And those actors together, it's like, it's so dynamic. I just love it. I can't get enough of it.
I know. And I want to go on and do the whole speech that Kino gives because he's so apprehensive at first. He's unsure of himself. He's not a speech giver. He's just a hardworking man who just was good at what he did there. And he's been betrayed. He had no idea that they were with him, you know? And so he liberates these other prisoners with his words and his encouragement and his leadership. And I know I'm slipping in more quotes, but it's all part of this. He says something like, if we work as hard to get out of here as we do work every day, we'll be home, or something to that effect. And it's like so moving because these guys are hard workers and they thought they were going to get out every day. Just one more day gets knocked off their sentence. But it wasn't anything like that. It's brilliant. This show is I'm getting excited. Andy Serkis is the perfect Kino Loy. I'm sorry. Like
he is because you believe his strength, you believe his fierceness, and then you believe when he breaks.
Yes.
And it's just so sincere and devastating.
It's so devastating. Oh God. Anyway, that's my choice. I love it. I could talk about the whole prison arc.
Oh my God. Yes. I want to. We didn't really dive into that too much when we were doing our recaps. And there's like little details in there I want to talk about, like how Cassian notices right from the beginning that they're understaffed. It's one of the first things he notices that there's extra boots on the wall, which means there's not enough people there to keep them under control. Oh, there's so many little details, Leanne.
And the detail of the shape of the prison itself is the Empire symbol, which is also the shape of Mon Mothma's hallway door, which is also her personal prison. We've talked about this. We shared pictures on our Instagram and Twitter of the shape, that pentagon. I'm sorry, not hexagon? Octagon? It's an octagon.
I think it's 6. You know what it actually is? I looked it up. It's the separatist symbol.
Oh, the separatists. Ah, yes.
Right?
Yes.
It was, because I thought it was the Empire symbol too, and the Empire has one extra side, I believe.
You're right, though.
And so it's the separatist symbol that they've been using, which I think is so interesting. That's even more interesting to me. Like, why would they choose that?
I know why they would choose that. There's a whole bunch of reasons. Oh, God. Okay, anyway. What's your next one? I can't wait to here.
Okay, my next one is a Mon Mothma quote.
Uh-oh.
I love this so much. It's from the episode Announcement.
Uh-huh.
And she's talking to Tay in the little party that they're throwing at their house.
Yes.
And she's...
It's on my list, too.
Is it? Oh,
yes! Go ahead.
So she's trying to like figure out how she can confide in him because she needs his help, but they're both not quite sure where they actually stand politically yet, and they realize they both hate the Empire, like very extremely. And Mon Mothma says she's talking about the perception of herself, and she says it's a lie. The Mon Mothma people think they know is a lie. It's a projection. It's a front. I've learned from Palpatine, I show you the stone in my hand, you miss the knife at your throat.
Yes.
Holy when I heard that line the first time, I paused it because I was like, that is one of the most beautiful pieces of prose. Like the dialogue is beautiful, and it's delivered by Genevieve and Ben Miles, who plays Tay, just like to perfection. Mm-hmm. But what I love is the deeper implication of it, that it's a glimpse into Mon Mothma's silent intellect, right? That, again, still waters run deep. What you see on the surface is not what's going on underneath. And she, to a careless observer who's not really paying attention, because if you are paying attention, she kind of does play her hand and tip her hand a little bit with her passion and her compassion and all of that. But we're also seeing that she's like duplicitous, right? Now we're actually seeing how she does have multiple existences. She has to translate who she is into different worlds. She has to deal with the Empire, but she's also creating this rebellion, this underground. And it also shows this line, I show you the stone in my hand, you miss the knife at your throat. We're seeing her willingness to be ruthless in a way we never saw in the Clone Wars.
We saw it in Palpatine. I think it's extremely important that she quotes Palpatine. That's what he's been doing all along.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing.
For her to see like Palpatine's true intentions, even back in the Clone Wars, you know, and she's not afraid to use his own tactics against him. This is a woman I admire.
Yes. I gotta say, I have the second half of that quote as on my list.
Oh, do you?
I do.
That's great.
May I read it? Because it goes perfectly. She says, in the same dialogue, this prose, as long as everyone thinks I'm a narration, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing. Yes. And it settles over her bestie there. What's his name?
Tay.
It settles over, and there's a moment, and then she's like, smile. Don't forget to keep the mask on. You know?
Yes. Oh my God, it's so good. She's so charming.
It's so good because, my God, there's a lot to unpack in just that. She is a multidimensional woman on a mission, and the stakes are getting higher, and she's ready to play. Like, she's really ready. Like, for a while, she kind of second guesses, like, what are you doing when she talks to Luthen in the museum?
Yeah.
And she's like, don't you know that, like, poking them is going to start? He's like, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. So for a while, she was a little afraid, but just like all these other characters we've been talking about, once they commit, they're in. There's no turning back.
Yes, you're so right. That is like the theme, right, within this show. That these characters are, like, she in particular, and actually Cassian and Kino Loy, they're all surrounded by danger. Every area of their life is dangerous. You know, she's got a spy as her driver, but also she can't trust her husband. Nope. Her daughter hates her guts and would probably sell her out. Because of all of that, she's not only just backed into a corner where at this point, you know, who's she going to turn to but herself? She has only herself to rely on. And the fact that she doesn't shrink away and disappear and go hide somewhere. Instead, she does the complete opposite, where she openly opposes the empirical overreach. You know, I just think she is one of the most fascinating characters. I'll say female characters, but just characters in general in Star Wars because of this writing, but also Genevieve's performance as well. Just so good. Oh my God. I could watch her all day. I could watch her read the phone book.
Yes.
And I'd be happy.
Yeah, I want to touch on the fact of their choice in setting this scene and having this moment between her and she and Tay. They could have had them alone in a room, but no, they kept him out, right? Kept him moving, kept the people around and stuff. And the fact that she's whispering makes it even more impactful. She's so composed, and she has like the straight spine and the poise of a senator, and all this flashiness and the opulence of this party and all these double crossing people she's surrounded by, and she's still having this conversation just slightly under, just not quite a whisper, not quite a low, it's just a low hum of a tone. And he's just absorbing it, and she's coaching him through it, like, just smile, don't look away, just bear with me, I know my political endeavors are hard for you, may not be your taste or something. And she's kind of being wily, but she's keeping it at a whisper. And I think it was brilliant because there could have been 1,000 different ways they could have had this scene, but they chose to have her whisper. And there's something really impactful about the whispered aspect of her delivering all of these lines. It's really, really cool.
I think it shows that she has nerves of steel, even though we don't think she does. And she shows vulnerability for sure, which is very human and realistic. But when it comes down to it, this woman has got some cojones.
I mean, that's why she ends up leading this. I mean, I think it's...
Seriously.
I would follow her to any end.
Yes. Yeah. She's amazing.
And you know what? If her and Marva ever met, I think they would have really liked each other. They would have respected the hell out of each other.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see how she meets Cassian, because we know she does. She's in the room with him in Rogue One. So there is some moment where their paths are going to cross. So that will be interesting to see. I also want to note in this scene, if you listen to the music, it's very Andor-esque, but it also has this like humming building in the background, like building up in the background, that is almost identical to the background that's going on in Return of the Jedi when Luke is fighting Vader in front of the Emperor. Goodness.
I have to rewatch. I just watched it. I didn't pick up on any of that because I'm so enthralled by watching her speak, Genevieve. And the delivery of her entire speech or line or conversation or whatever. Yeah, I need to go back and listen. That's very cool. I didn't pick up on that.
I noticed it the first time I watched it, even because it grows really slowly. You don't notice it at first, and all of a sudden you're like, what am I? Like, there's something that catches your attention. Yeah, once you notice that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like the Emperor's overbearing presence, I
hate the fucking Emperor. I hate you, Palps. Fuck you, Palps.
That was so good.
Pong Krell gets a day off.
So was that your number 3? That Mon Mothma quote?
Yeah, but I have another.
Okay, well, go for it then.
I mean, this could be my 3. I have to go back to Marva.
Nice.
Because
I love her.
This moment is so poignant. It's during the clanking, the miners. They're all clanking. And it's for a reason. It was brilliant. But she says, gets to you, doesn't it? That's what a reckoning sounds like. You want it to stop, but it just keeps coming. It's when it stops, that's when you'll really want to start to fret. And she's right. So because when it stops, all breaks loose.
Yep.
And
because what the sound is the build-up.
It is. And they're distracting with and what are they doing? Why are they clanging? What are these people doing? And it's a silent not silent, but it's a wordless communication.
Yes.
Between the people. And she says in her death speech, like, we've always had each other, and it's so evident in the way that they're synchronized and they do this. And of course we have the guy up on the bell tower with the big clanking of the stone there.
That man is a spirit animal for sure.
I love that man. I love him, but the reckoning the reckoning stuff is, it's kind of, it bleeds through the entire series, and it's summed up in her words in this quote, and I love it.
It's such a good moment because she's the one who's being oppressed, right? They're in her home, keeping her there.
She's just sitting in the chair and she's smiling, almost coyly.
Yeah. And the way the guys start to get really nervous hearing the noise, and then she just preys on their nervousness and starts to play with them.
Gets to you, doesn't it? I mean, I just love that. What are they going to say to an old woman, you know? She's not threatening, is she? Oh, yes, she is. Even after she dies, she'll get you again. So, Marva's my hero.
Yeah.
And
yes, I would like to be friends with Marva. I would like to visit her every day.
I just love it. That's my final quote.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing.
It's just with the clanking. That's such a smart and creative way to execute something like that, and it really shows how well they knew that community that they had built for this show.
Yeah,
the miners and the usage of their elements that they have all together as one. Yes. Using what they salvage, using what they work on, you know, all these things, and they don't know. Anyone from the outside has no idea. It's so good.
It's so good. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It really is.
It is some of the most incredible world building I've ever seen, and it's not piggybacking off of really anything else that exists except Rogue One. But even then, it's so different.
It's honestly. We don't see anything else like it, and we don't see much of it. There's a wreckage yard, and then there's the community. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's all we need to see to have this picture, and it's really about the spirit of the people that end up making it more than what it is. The fact that they put bricks with ashes in them, right? It's just what a cool concept. The whole thing from top to bottom is really smart, I think.
I think so too. And the brick thing in particular shows you the writers had an idea of what life on Ferrix was from birth to death.
Yes.
So they had a general trajectory in their mind of like what a standard life would be like there. And they never bore us to death with exposition. They don't explain. They just be, you know, like they just act. Yeah. And we've caught onto it, you know, like you don't have to over explain, and that's why I love this show. They just drop you in and you're on your way. Mm-hmm. You know, like they never said that Yularen was Yularen.
Right.
you know?
You just
put it together because holy shit, that's Yularen.
That's Yularen. That makes me so sad.
It does me too, but like that's
Star Wars. The pain. Say it with me. The pain.
The pain. Okay, so my last one is...
I'm curious.
It's a Saw Gerrera quote.
Yes. Yes.
Because I love Saw Gerrera. And it's really Forrest Whitaker, but also this writing is all part of it.
Well, could anyone be Saw after Forrest Whitaker? No.
I know that there's a voice actor who plays him, but he doesn't bring the lunacy to the character the way Forrest Whitaker does.
Lunacy is the word. That was perfectly put, because he's got kind of like wild eyes and a wild hair about him anyway, you know? Like one you could see one misstep,
if you catch him on the wrong day, there's a wire loose, you know?
Yep. And he'll use that wire to blow you up.
Yes, he will. So this is really just a whole exchange kind of between Saw and Luthen, and I just love it so very much. But it's the part where Saw says, Krieger's a separatist, Maya Pei's a neo-republican, the Gorman Front, the Partisan Alliance, sectarists, human cultists, galaxy partitionists, they're lost, all of them lost. Lost. What are you, Luthen? I never really knew. What are you? This is the line I love so much, where he says, I am the only one with clarity of purpose.
Clarity.
And Luthen's response is, well, anarchy is a seductive concept. A bit of a luxury, I'd argue, to a man who is hiding in cold caves and begging for spare parts.
Now, first of all, round of applause for saying that to Saw Gerrera's face.
Yeah, right? He actually laughs in his face, and Saw gets so offended.
But he doesn't kill him. There's an odd amount of respect there.
Yes, after he says that, Saw gives it. You see this minuscule fluctuation in Forrest Whitaker's eyes, where he's like, "Am I gonna kill him?" And then his face softens, and he just laughs, and he's like, "No sale today, Luthen."
Yeah,
basically, F you.
yeah, exactly.
It's like you just don't know which version of him you're gonna get. But I've talked about this quote before. I love it. It's brilliant. And I love like the dark humor that Stellan Skarsgård brings to the whole situation. But I wanted to talk about the specific words that Saw uses because I kind of did a little research on them.
Okay.
You can look them up on Wikipedia and they'll give you like a very vague reference within the Star Wars universe. But I looked up what they mean in our universe.
Okay.
So a sectorist, spelled the way they spell it, is actually a Romanian word for a police officer who is in charge of a very specific area that he patrols.
Okay, makes sense.
So if you think of this in terms of that, yeah, like in the rebellion, there are like little areas that little rebellions, like little partisans, whatever you want to call them, they're like in their own little spot, right? And they patrol that area and they say F you to the Empire, but they're not part of the larger picture. And when he says human cultists, we know the word cult. We know like what that means, but specifically what it means is a cultist is one who exhibits great devotion to a person, idea, object, or movement. And a human cultist implies anti-other species.
True, yes. Oh. Ugh.
So, and they actually talk about that a bit in Rebel Rising, how there's some talk about how Saw will work with another group and that group hates humans. You know, it's like, it's just interesting to think about the, like, quote unquote racism among even the Alliance, you know?
What's interesting, though, is that I never get I never get a sense of galactical racism in Star Wars because it seems like they're all pretty chill with all these different alien and humanoid species. It's just, ironically enough, they're trying to eradicate the Jedi.
Right.
Like, they're trying to wipe out a set of individuals that are strong in the Force. And it really, any race, as long as they're strong in the Force. It's really crazy. So it's interesting to look at it from this point of view that, I guess I never thought of it. Like, what's the term again?
Cultist, human cultist.
Human cultist. Yeah, that's... Yeah. I mean, it's got to exist. I believe it.
Well, and like Saw has a really good perspective on it because he has been a partisan, basically, because he was not a separatist nor into the Republic either back in the Clone Wars when we met him. So he's always been like on the fringe. So he has this whole other perspective of rebel fighters and how they, and even here where he won't work with Antor Krieger, you know, because he's an ox, you know.
Yeah.
But the other word he uses is a partitionist, and that is a very specific term that talks about politically dividing up a country. And so, like, Ireland was partitioned in 1912. India was partitioned in 1947, both by Britain, by the way, the British Empire. Well. Yeah, and what they do is they take a country that exists already and basically chop it in and actually put up delineating areas like walls and like that and make new pieces of government that run each of these areas. And so he's talking about people who are local policing, who are racist, who are trying to divide, you know, places that already exist that might even already be united. And this is why what Luthen is saying to him about we have to work together, he's like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed digging deeper into that because, like, on the surface, yes, we get it. But if you want to dig deeper,
You know they did when they wrote it.
Right. Like, the whole use of the word sectorist is
that's
very specific.
There's somebody on the writing team knew.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, these are all factions of developing war and the underbelly of it. And I think it's really smart. And I didn't know any of that, but it lends a depth to that scene now.
Yeah, it makes Saw seem less crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Right. Because he's saying it with this like crazy look in his eye. But if you think of it, it's like, this is his perspective of why it's never going to work. And Luthen has his head in the clouds. Whereas Luthen is looking at it from, if we don't do this, we literally will not be able to stop the Empire from growing to the point where it will overwhelm us.
True. I mean, they both have their points.
Yeah.
I still think to this day that Saw Gerrera, as a character, he was wronged. He feels guilt that will never go away. Mm-hmm. And he is out to get people because of it under the guise of fighting against the Empire.
Yeah. I think he doesn't know what else to do with himself.
No. And I do think in time, when he meets others, he does this sort of conversation with Luthen. He even meets Jin. You know, his world gets expanded a little bit. He begins to connect with others. And I think it does transition over to fight the Empire. We see it kind of like when he lets Jin go in Rogue One.
Yeah.
There's a greater purpose there, but he's at the end of his line, and he probably sees all the mistakes he made and the generalizations and the very focused need for revenge to hurt those that hurt him and that sort of thing. I totally get all of that, but it's nice to see him kind of expand away from that in a way.
For sure.
By the end.
I think he's so interesting because he is just not defined, really. He kind of is, and this is also what makes him scary sometimes, is you're never sure what you're going to get from him. And that's why I love that scene between him and Jin when she first sees him on Jeddah, because he really does love her. He really thought he was doing the right thing for her. And she's like, you just abandoned me. And he's like, I think of you every day. It's like, what?
Well, he's probably, he's been abandoned, and he's probably abandoned so many people that to him it's just a day that ends in Y. But to her, it meant more.
Yeah. He was just protecting her, and that's what it takes, so that's what you do.
Right.
It's very cold and very, I don't want to say data-driven, but because it's not data-driven. It's more like emotion-driven. But it's like his experience is, it makes it difficult for him to have the more sentimental side, I guess. Or maybe because his sister died, he doesn't want the sentimental side. But
right.
I just enjoy watching that because he's nothing like any character you find anywhere else. He's so far from a cliche that he's so incredibly fascinating, and we know very little about him. We see him, he drops in and out of stories, but that's enough for you to get a pretty good sense of, like I said, the lunacy.
The lunacy of it all. I do love him for it, though. All of these individuals are great, and there's so many others. There's so many other lines. There's so many other characters with stories, and I mean, we didn't even touch on Karis Nemec. You know,
I know.
He's got a whole episode's worth of lines that we could talk about, and
we'll just have to do some more episodes where we just break down our favorite quotes.
Let's do it. Our audience question this week is, what is your favorite quote from Andor, if you had to pick one? I know it's tough. We know. We just did this.
It's very hard.
But did we mention one of your favorites? And if so, which one? Let us know.
Next week, we are diving back into some Obi-Wan and some Clone Wars. We are going to discuss Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka's relationship. Leanne and I are going to pick our 2 favorite moments with them, and then we're going to generally discuss how Obi-Wan might have influenced Ahsoka throughout their time in the Jedi Order together.
Yes, she had 2 dads. She had 2.
She did.
She had 2 fathers and 1 mother, Padme. Weird.
And Uncle Plo Koon.
Yes. Oh. So of the comments that we got about our last 2 stories from A Certain Point of View, The Empire Strikes Back, all of the comments were this. We loved this so much, we went out and bought the book. And I've gotten several messages, and so has Lauren, saying that. So, I mean, we weren't trying to sell anything this week, but I guess, hey, if you go and read it and you find a story that you love and want us to talk about, again, let us know. Enjoy the book. It's super amazing.
And we're awaiting our check, Disney, whenever you want to send it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. See you never.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. We appreciate every single one of our patrons and are grateful for your support. If you'd like to support the podcast and become a patron as well, head over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. As always, you can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy our podcast, please rate us on Spotify and Apple. That really helps us out. And if you need just one place to find all of these, head over to mostthinkskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.